Not very strong at all. Not very strong at all. When the mainstream culture comes through and poo-hoos everything about traditional culture, why do we think that younger people are going to think that it's okay? Mainstream culture, Australian culture, calls it primitive, backward, so forth, tribal, and says you've got to forget your old culture, you've got to learn the new way. Why do we think that Aboriginal kids are going to say, oh yeah, that's something I really look forward to, understanding my own culture? When education departments don't see the need to use the original Australia languages, what does that say to young people? When they're forced to school and they're told they can't speak in their own language. No, you're not allowed to use Yungamata around here. You have to use English. And the young people are going, what the hell? What's wrong with our language? That the sophisticated modern Ballender think that we can't use it in an education setting. What does that say to people? What does it say to the young people? It says, I need to jettison this old primitive backward culture as quick as I can and get away from it. I need to become like Ballender, and that's exactly what they're saying to their parents. They're saying, we're over your old culture. Forget it, your old songlines. All you got is your old songlines. We want to follow the Ballender now. We want to be like Ballender. But trouble is they don't really want to be like Ballender because they don't know what it means to be like Ballender. For instance, if they go off and do a break and entry or whatever and causing trouble or get into a gang and fight, and the first time they're in trouble, they want to come back to their old culture. They want to go, oh no, we don't want the police involved. Can you help us? Can you help us, Mum, Dad? Can you help us? We don't want the Ballender culture really involved here anymore around law issues. So these young people are just becoming absolute rebels in their own community. They swear at their parents. They tell their parents that they don't want to be like them. They look at the Hollywood version of reality, the films they're seeing on TV, as the reality of the world out there. They see that they think the films are made by the government, that the government is using those films as sort of adult education programs for Ballender culture. So they're getting a very warped image of life, a very warped image of life and reality. And most are walking away from their culture as fast as they can. They don't like their culture because years later, and some of them will go off and some will be successful in universities and so on, and they'll say, oh, our culture's great and we want to keep our culture and all that sort of stuff. But the real conversation that's happening on the ground is what I'm telling you. That's the real conversation, and it's sad. It's sad. It's sad that a good analysis can't be done of both, where they can look at the good of the past and hang on to it. Even some modern Christian groups come along and they tell people that they've got to leave their culture to have a relationship with God. Wow, where are these people coming from? Here are the people who have had a relationship with the great Creator Spirit for 40, 50, 60, 100,000 years. They had that relationship through that culture. They believe that their culture was given to them by the great Creator so that they can live and have great lives, live in community, in a communal life where everybody looked after each other for a long time, where there was no incest. In traditional culture, no incest. And yet people will come along now and tell them, no, your kinship systems and structures and so forth are primitive old culture. You need to give it away. So what happens then when people are detribalised? We start getting incest. We start getting women abused by own family members in a traditional Australian culture setting. That is just unheard of, absolutely unheard of. So some people who come along and tell young people to forget their culture are actually preparing those young people for incest relationships. So be very careful what you do. If you're out there and you're talking down the culture, it's working, it's successful. It's creating a mess. Not good at all. Not good at all.